Hey everyone, on Wednesday I got to see Thunderbolts and it was pretty good. For an era where Marvel has been mostly been pretty mediocre with their products and of course the multiversal saga throughout the entire run on with their mediocrity swap, this movie feels like a breath of fresh air compared to recent Marvel movies that aren't really that good. Because this movie really feels like a Marvel movie that mostly focus on characters, which I'm pretty much happy about. So let's get into some positives. I like the performances of Florence Pugh and Lois Pullman. Both were really good, and especially Pugh, who never got wasted in the MCU, unlike Christian Bale, which I'm still mad about. And her performance was great in that movie, and it reminded me of her performance in Midsommar, which also reminds me that William Jackson Harper got also wasted too. Man, Marvel keeps wasting these great actors, don't they? And Pullman is pretty good too. I love how he plays Bob in The Void, which is as two separate characters, which I appreciate. And speaking of Bob, he has the most development out of any character in this movie, and he's a pretty compelling character who comes from a rough life, and he uses the Central program to really get something more in him. And I like the emotional moments too. And I like some of the characters in this movie, like John Walker and Red Guardian. And I like Yelena's relationship with the Red Guardian. It's compelling and great, and also focuses on that family dynamic, which I like. One small note, I love the Marvel logo, which is a reference to the 2013 logo, and then it becomes consumed by the Void, which, by the way, was actually done by Imaginary Forces. They also did the previous Marvel logos. Did they not do the 2016 logo? That was done by Perception. I have some problems, like some of the characters don't have much development and aren't really too compelling, and mostly requires you to watch some MCU content to learn more about the characters, which I don't think you need to. And Red Guardian was mostly okay. He was kind of comic relief, which is fun, but some of his jokes were a bit groaning. Like, the jokes in this movie aren't too great, and Bucky is just Bucky. And Valentina was okay. I wish we got to see more, of her backstory and more of her character, but I don't want to get that into spoilers. And of course, yeah, let's just get into it. Skip to this time frame to avoid spoilers. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Taskmaster fucking dies. Honestly, do I really care about Taskmaster? Does anyone care about this version of Taskmaster in the MCU? I mean, she wasn't that great in Black Widow, so I mean, who gives a shit about her at this point? It's been like 4 years since Black Widow released. But yeah, I really don't care about her character. Then and Ghost and John all fight each other in this facility, and it's revealed to be a trap by Val, so that she can remove all her evidence, and hopefully all of them die. Of course, they escape with the help of Bob, who somehow got into this facility for some reason, and I don't know how they got. I don't know how he got here after he was basically just got sent from Kuala Lumpur or whatever. Anyway, they all escape, and then Bob sacrifices himself so that everyone escapes, and then it's revealed that Bob is a superhero named Sentry Tree, and then he's taken to New York by Val, and then Val turns him into Earth's mightiest hero, like the Avengers or whatnot. Also, Stark Tower is basically back at this point, and it's turned into the Sentry Watchtower. It's cool to see Stark Tower again, but it's weird that this new building from Far From Home really meant nothing for some reason. I guess it's Sony or whatever. And then the heroes get chased down by the government. They got the right thanks to Red Guardian, who came here from DC with his limo after he heard that Val was basically going to kill the heroes. And then Bucky arrives to save them, and then they capture them so that he can use them as evidence against Val. It's just weird, but whatever. I mean, Bucky's storyline is pretty fine, I guess. It's nothing too special or whatnot. And then they all head to New York City to to save Bob. I mean, to find Bob, and then Bob introduces himself as Sentry, and then there's a big action scene, which is admittedly pretty cool. And then the heroes escape because Bob is like way powerful, and also he took them very easily. He isn't going to kill them or whatever. Also, Sentry turns John's shield into a fucking taco. Anyways, Sentry, he believes that he's a god, and then realizes that Val was using him the entire time so that she can have more power. And then Val hits the kill switch on Sentry, and then he becomes the Void. Which, by the way, the Void scenes are really good in this one. And I love the effects on it. It really is just so great. He just uses the shadow dimension as a form of depression, you know? It's great. All the heroes have a disagreement and then split up. And then Red Guardian consults Yelena, which, by the way, is a pretty great scene. And then there's the huge team-up scene, which is really fun, I must admit. And then the girl just gets consumed by the Void, right, thanks to Sentry. And then the Void just consumes everything in its path and turns New York City into a cloud of darkness, and it looks really cool. Anyway, Yelena goes into the shadow dimension to save Bob, and all the heroes follow her, and of course they do the hug scene, and which, by the way, reminded me of Steven Universe, which also is the Yelena and Bob scene in the shadow dimension was really cool, and it really showcases his past, and honestly it's great. The performances are really good too in that scene, and of course they all save the day, and of course they save Bob. They all try to arrest Val, but then she uses a press conference to save her ass, and of course introduces the Thunderbolts. Yelena warns them if they betray her, they're going to get her again, and that's the end of the movie. And also there is a post-credit scene where the Thunderbolts talk about Sam Wilson suing them for using the Avengers name, and the Red Guardian tries to rename it to New Avengers with Z, and however, it really isn't gonna really work, is it? Anyway, and then there's a spacecraft which basically reveals the fucking Fantastic Four album. Wow, gotta say, it's fantastic.
Say that again?
Anyway, and I can't wait for what the next MCU movie is gonna be. I can't wait for Fantastic Four, and then we're gonna get followed up with the fucking Avengers movies. Can't wait for those. I can't wait for the fucking CGI swap to be there again. Yay! Can't wait for Russo brothers, who haven't made a good movie in a while, making Netflix slop. To be honest, this movie is pretty good. Despite problems I have with this movie, it's still pretty good. The performances, the action, and of course the visual effects in this movie are really good, especially the VFX. When compared to recent Marvel movies, it is kind of a breath of fresh air. You could tell everything was obviously practical, including the building explosions and of course the chase scenes, which is pretty cool. Anyway, I'm giving this movie a 7 out of 10. And the problems are still there. And there is a still looming question. Is Marvel back? I'm not really sure. I'm gonna go and watch Final Reckoning first. Can't wait to see Fantastic Four, and then get followed up by Doomsday. Yay! Anyway, I'm doing 100 days in Minecraft. Good night.